We'll go ahead and get started with our post-race press conference. We're now joined by third-place finisher of tonight's AAA Texas 500, Kyle Busch, driver of the number 18 Snickers Toyota. With his third-place finish, he ties his career best Sprint Cup Series finish at Texas Motor Speedway. Kyle, if you could talk about your night.
It was a good night for us. You know, we had a really fast race car, just not quite fast enough. We seen the 2 and the 48 and the 15, I think, were the best cars in practice, and we knew we were going to have to deal with those guys tonight, in which we did. You know, they were right up there all night long, and we were right there pressuring them all. So, you know, felt good about our run. I just, you know, wish I had a couple better restarts there at the end of the race, or was a little bit closer to those guys when they were going at it and pushing. When Brad was pushing Jimmy up the track, you know, I could have squeaked in and got underneath him, but, you know, just didn't quite have enough there, and didn't have enough to be comfortable. I was a little too loose there the last couple of restarts.
We'll open up for questions. If you could raise your hand, we have one right here.
Mark Allman, NASCAR.com for Kyle. 2 questions. First is, were you in a situation where you actually had to have the caution because you didn't have enough fuel for that long, if we stayed green from that long run? And then secondly, you had sort of talked about this being a stepping stone for 2013. Can you sort of elaborate a little more on that?
I think we were going to be okay, to be honest with you, to make it to the end. We were a little bit short, but from lap 1, I was doing some fuel savings, and when Jimmy ran up my back bumper, you know, he's pressuring me a little bit, which I just moved around and found some speed without having to stay on the throttle as much still, just let the car roll some more. And, you know, that was good from what Dave was telling me. We were going to be all right. So just kept working at that, but then, you know, caution come out and kind of derail plans anyway. But as far as 2013 goes, I mean, we just continue to evolve and continue to try to get better and strive at what we need to, so we can, you know, make the chase next year and obviously contend for the championship like the 2 and the 48 are doing.
One more for Kyle. And we'll
Yeah, Nate Ryan, USA Today. Kyle, both you and Jimmy took issue, I think, with the second to last restart by Brad. Did you think he went early? And you said you were kind of watching the 2 and the 48 go back and forth. Did you sense there was a lot of gamesmanship and a lot of, you know, feistier racing than normal going on between those 2 guys?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's no restart rules. I mean, I think Brad went early, I think the last 2 times. From my vantage point anyways, from compared to where the line starts, you know, you're supposed to go within the zone, and I felt like he was a little early on that. But, you know, that's Cup racing. So, you know, what else was going on the racetrack between those 2 guys? But, you know, from my experience with Brad, it doesn't surprise me.
Okay, we got one more for Kyle. Liv?
Actually, it was for...
All right, well, let me make our introduction of our second-place finisher, Brad Keselowski, driver of the number 2 Miller Lite Dodge. With his second-place finish, he's establishes a career best at Texas Motor Speedway. Brad's now 7 points back of Jimmy Johnson with 2 races remaining in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Brad, a tough battle there at the end. Talk about those last laps.
Well, I mean, obviously there was, you know, a good fight there, and Jimmy had some pretty good speed, and so did Kyle, and you know, them 2 were really good. And it was, you know, I think our 3 cars were probably the 3 cars to beat all day long. You know, we had a run there where I felt like we got up front and had a good shot at it, and yellow came out, and then had the issue on pit road where I just got in the brakes and it couldn't get it to slow down quite as well as I needed to, and then put myself in a bad position where the 10 blocked me, and it was probably my fault. But you know, from there it was just a dogfight to get some track position back, and did the last pit stop and got out up front, and just fought as hard as I could to keep the lead, but just came up a little bit short there. Thought I had it until that last yellow came out, but you know, there's nothing you can do when somebody's wrecked on the track, so I can understand that. But just a good effort. Came up a little bit short. Felt great about the speed we had. Feel like we caught a couple of bad breaks today and still put out a solid effort. So, you know, I feel confident that if we keep putting efforts out like this, that we can win races and be tough to beat for the championship. But it was a fun day for sure. I really enjoyed this race, and I guess some people did too in the stands. I heard they were pretty excited, so that's great to know, and we'll keep fighting.
I believe we have a couple questions in the press box.
Monty Dutton, Gaston Gazette, you mentioned the fact how sort of the inning all sort of came back to what changed the strategy was sliding through the pits. But at the end, you had two fresh tires. They had four. And it was kind of like, you held the edge one time. You held the edge the second time. By the third time, did you have the sinking feeling? Were the tires a clear difference?
Is that your question? I'm sorry, I don't know if you were keep going there.
Did the tires make a difference?
All right.
I'm saying you held the lead twice on restarts with
Sure. Well,
two fresh tires.
I think the restarts made the difference. Jimmy probably would have got me with an extended amount of laps to go, but with only 5 or 6 to go, when we had the lead, I felt pretty good about it. But getting that that last yellow, I feel like restarts. I've used this analogy before. They're like rock paper scissors, and eventually you're going to lose them. It's just a matter of time because there's always a strategy to counteract the strategy. So, to win 2 out of 3 is, I felt lucky to do that. But obviously I didn't win the last one that counts.
Go ahead. Let's keep up in the press box.
Nick Bromberg, Yahoo Sports. On that last restart theme, Brad, did you spin the tires in that final restart? Did you think that Jimmy beat you to the line? Because it looked like he did barely.
Yeah, I mean, every restart, I didn't have very good drive today for some reason. Every restart, I spun the tires, and it was just one of them deals, and we fought through it best we could. But that's part of the rock paper scissors analogy. So we'll just fight through that, and it's just one of them deals.
Stay up in the press box.
This is Terry Blount, ESPN.com. Brad, first of all, did you make the call there to go with just 2 tires? If so, what made you confident that would work? And second, Jimmy and Kyle have said they thought you jumped that restart after that, the next last one. And then it looked like, as you said, it looks like Jimmy beat you the line on the other one. Is that just all part of the restart craziness? And did you make the call on the 2 tires?
Your first question, the 2 tires, that was something that I thought was the right way to go. And, I stopped short of saying it was my call because we were a team and we make decisions together. And Paul and I made the decision together. I might have poked him a little bit to do it, but we still made it together. And, I thought that was the right thing to do. And maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, who knows. But it was worth a shot. And your other question was, say it again. What was your second question?
Was on the last 2 restarts. First, Jimmy was howling that you jumped the restart on the next to last one, and then on the last one, you already talked about this a little bit, him beating you to the line there.
Okay, yeah, I got you now.
Part of the restart.
Yeah, I think NASCAR said before that they're not going to get out a micrometer and measure that kind of stuff, and that's kind of the interpretation of the rules right now, and via that interpretation, I think it was probably fair play on both sides.
It's Jerry Fraley from the Dallas Morning News. One more on the last restart, if I could, please. Did you make a conscious decision not to try to take Jimmy, ride him up high on the track on that restart?
Yeah, I felt like we were just going to wreck, and I wasn't looking to be the guy that wrecked him for a lead. I didn't really enjoy the last time that happened with Kyle over here, and I don't think he did either. He might not believe that, but that's just not the way you want to run a race, and not the way I want to win a championship. So that was pretty much the only choice I had, was to put ourselves both in a bad position like I did before, and felt lucky to survive that one.
Mike down here.
Hey, Kyle. I know it's been a difficult season, and I know you said, you're just trying to do the best you can, but is there some positive momentum, and is it important going into next year?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta continue to work hard and strive to get better. And for missing the chase by what we did, I mean, yeah, we had a lot of technical problems, but there were, I'm sure, a few races where we could have finished better. So we've got to get better in every opportunity we can. So this last 10 weeks have been pretty good. I mean, we've run well, we've been fast, we've shown speed. Maybe we've been 3rd to 5th or 3rd to 6th place cars, and tonight I felt like we were a winning car if we could have got out front. I think track position meant that much, which we'll say that every week. But it's just a matter of continuing to evolve and get better as a team. and communicate, because this car's obsolete in 2 weeks. So you know, we'll work on all that stuff in 2013.
Bob. Bob Packer, Sporting News. Brad, I mean, you talked about you felt kind of lucky to make it through, you know, right before that final restart. Do you feel like you raced dirty or wrong, or is that just racing for the championship?
No, I didn't feel that way. I raced hard, and sure someone will say dirty. Hell, anytime you run close to certain guys, you're racing them dirty, according to some people. But I raced hard, and we both came back around, so that's something to be said for that.
And I also had a question on when you lost the 8 spots on pit road. Can you kind of talk about what happened? Did you feel you got blocked in at all, or did you just lock them up and get too far into your box?
Well, it was probably a little bit of both, and starting on my side. So, you know, I got to take the blame where blame's deserved. And I certainly felt like we could have got a little more help from the car that we were around. In that particular case, it probably wouldn't have made a significant difference, but it would have made a difference.
Jeff.
Jeff Buck from SBNH.com. Brad, is it not a little bit disheartening to go out there and give every ounce of everything you had, and then you still lose to Jimmy? I mean, it just seems like he always seems to do this to people.
Well, it don't feel good, but there's a part of you that just feels like you're first in class. When you catch the breaks that he caught today with the yellows, and then you execute like they can, you're unbeatable. And I'm confident that we can execute at a high level. And I'm confident that the way that it's worked over the last 3 weeks, that we haven't caught good breaks or bad breaks, and he's caught several really good ones. I'm confident that that'll come back around. And when it does, we will change these seconds and fifths or whatever they are over the last few weeks into wins. And I feel like that's bound to happen over the next 2 weeks, and that we have the team to pull it off. Excuse me. And I also feel like the way the points are right now, we still control our own destiny, which is if we win the race, we get the points lead. So that's about all you can ask for.
Nate, go ahead.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. That was sort of my question, Brad, but I guess following up on that, I mean, Jimmy's now won from the pole 2 straight weeks, maximum points 2 straight weeks. He's going to Phoenix next week, where obviously he's won, I think, 4 times. But yet you seem so undeterred with the, you know, you said if you can run like this, you'll beat him. You know, where does that inner confidence come from? And are you just expecting that you guys are going to have to run the table here to beat him based on the way the 48 has run the last 2 weeks?
I don't expect to have to run the table. We'll probably need to win one of the next 2 races, but I would have said that either way. I feel like, you know, Phoenix is a whole different animal. You know, I know you want to pull the stats up where he's been so dominant, but when they repaved it last year, it's just not the same track. So, you know, I don't feel like a notebook there is really all that significant, other than the past 2 races there where we've been just as good in both races. I felt like we might have been a little bit better in the fall than he was, and he was probably just a little bit better than we were in the spring. So, you know, looking at it that way, I'd say it's probably a heads-up match going into Phoenix, and probably the same going into Homestead. We just need to win the heads-up matches, and we didn't today. That's not good, but it's not bad either. I think there's still plenty of potential to do that.
Skylar.
Skylar Dixon with the Associated Press. One for each of you all. Kyle, you described on the quick TV interview sort of what you were seeing in front of you with those 2 guys. Could you give us a little bit more detail just on kind of what you saw in that hard racing between the 2? And Brad, with the 2-tire decision, was that pretty much based on the track position that you lost from the previous stop? In other words, without the rough pit stop, would you have probably been able to take 4?
I mean, you talking about last restart or second to last restart? I mean, the second to last restart, you know, those guys got side by side, and you know, they were running hard, and it seemed like Brad was moving up the racetrack to force Jimmy into the dirty racetrack. You know, the rubber was still laid on the racetrack, so it makes you slick, slows you down, and he's no dummy, he's smart, and so you know, it cost Jimmy a little bit, got him loose, but he held on off turn 4. And then they went back down into turns 1 and 2, and did it again, and finally he cleared him. I wish I could have got through there and got to the bottom and passed the both of them, but I missed my opportunity there. So last restart, though, Jimmy got an excellent restart, and he stayed alongside of him enough, and I think he had enough of a run down into turn one that he just stayed in the gas and cleared Brad. So and then drove away. So that was the race-winning move.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was your question? Well, yeah. I mean, certainly I didn't take 2 because I thought they'd be better than 4. But, you're trying to get to the lead and present the opportunities that might be. And it just didn't play out. But, obviously 4 tires are going to be better than 2. But, it's my job to find a way to win the race. And I didn't do that. But certainly put on a good effort for it.
Carlos?
Hey, Brad. Carlos Mendez, Forward Star Telegram. Hey, these last 3 or 4 races have been very intense for everybody. For you, how do you think it's affecting you mentally? What's the cost there? Are you, is it high? Are you enjoying it?
The cost?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware there was a cost. I mean, yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's my dream to run for a Sprint Cup championship. It's any driver at this level's dream to run for a championship. And it's a lot of fun to do. Certainly I would have liked to have won today, but I feel like we're fighting the good fight and doing some great things as a team that I'm really, really proud of. Obviously it's not going to come easy, but anything worth doing in life shouldn't come easy, and I appreciate the efforts of the people I'm around to make it happen, and I appreciate the fact that it's difficult because it brings out the best in everybody, and as a group, I feel like we've brought our best, and I'm really proud of everybody for that.
Jerry.
Kyle, Jerry Jordan, Kicking the Tires. I don't know if you noticed, your brother and you are the only 2 chasers in the top 10. Any comments on him as far as the new team and his situation, and obviously doing pretty well this weekend?
Yeah, it is good. Certainly, to see him excel is beneficial for him and what he's got going on. So, for us, we've been struggling. I wouldn't say struggling, but we've been working hard on finding speed and getting speed to contend with the top 3, 4, 5 guys each and every week. And so for us to show the kind of consistency that we have the past few weeks has been good. And it's cool to see Kurt obviously developing with a new team and getting that chemistry going quite quickly in order to get himself better acclimated for 2013.
Well, we have one last question. Go ahead.
Hi, Janine Cloud with Skirts and Scuffs. This is for Kyle. You've been in here sitting at that desk quite a bit this weekend. So how does that help you going forward? Does that help you with momentum?
Well, I think it helps. Sure. I mean, at the beginning of the year, it was told to me that I should cut back on my extracurricular racing because it distracts me from my Cup effort. And then I come out here and I qualify in the top 3 in all 3 series. And if it wasn't for a truck battery issue that we had, we would have finished top 3 in all 3 series. So any sort of track time that I can get, it always seems to be beneficial for me, no matter how tired I feel on Monday. But, this is a good race weekend for us. I'd love to say I'm doing the triple in the next 2, but, we got Brian Scott running my truck next week at Phoenix. But beyond that, I'll be running every other race here on out, so it's good.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, everybody.